Good morning and welcome in to another episode of the After Parties Me, the Jury segment. I am Tam, your host, not your lawyer, but your nosy best friend. And this is where you come to get all your courtroom tea served, piping hot. Thank you for joining me for bonus coverage on a Sunday. You could have been anywhere, but you're here with me, and I appreciate you. We did not finish up day 13 of the current retrial sidebars yesterday. And we also needed to do uh, a weekend review of the Kouri Richins trial. So I decided to come back and bless you guys with more coverage because I know you can't get enough. I can't get enough. So we're going to go straight into those trial sidebars, pick up where we left off yesterday and see what else Auntie Bev is about to rule against the Camry team for. I just can't get enough of this trial. So we're going to jump right in without delay and continue our coverage and my interruptions as well.
So I will, why don't we take a 15-minute recess? I'll look at these and we'll come out.
Are you trying to feed your dog better? Fresh food and low quality kibble? Hi, I'm Dr.
He was reviewing some video that the defense wanted to.
I actually will see counsel at sidebar. I wasn't sure this was going on.
Okay, and we start right off with a sidebar.
Separate and apart from whether the Commonwealth opened the door, I really appreciate the opportunity to have been able to view these a couple of times. With the record before me, I am going to let it in. The Commonwealth's objection is noted.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, Jim.
Let it in.
And, actually, they'll need to be passed down to
It's a win for the defense.
Sorry.
I'd like you to take a look at the video. It's been marked for, it's evidence number 86. I'm going to play this short video for you, and then I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Yo, you're getting his boys. I will beat all your asses. I promise you, I will fuck you all up. Pull up, bitch.
Oh. Your Honor, with the court's permission, could we play evidence number 87?
Yes.
You're a bitch, bro. Fuck you. Fuck you. Good code, boy. You can lock up.
What?
May I inquire? Yes. Mr. Albert, who is that in that video?
Me.
Was that taken around the same time?
Yes.
You indicated you're a bitch, bro. Right?
Correct.
Was that a threat?
Yes.
More of an insult?
Yeah, more of an insult.
Calling someone out?
Yep.
Making them feel bad?
Yeah.
Prompting them to maybe fight?
Objection all.
Well, I'll ask that question differently, Mr. Jackson.
Also called him a pussy, didn't you?
Correct.
Language, people.
Derogatory comment?
Correct.
And then you said KO, bang bang, right?
Correct.
What's KO mean?
Knockout.
And what does bang bang mean?
I'm not sure, honestly.
You were just talking about knocking somebody out.
Correct.
And the bang bang just sort of flowed.
Exactly.
Was that a threat?
Yes.
And these threats that we've just talked about, that we've just seen, these are threats of physical violence, right?
Correct.
You're not threatening to hurt their feelings or send them a mean text, right?
No.
You're threatening to kick their ass, right?
Correct.
To get physical, right?
Yes.
To ball up your fists and beat the shit out of them.
Objection.
Can you answer that? Will you answer that, please?
Yeah, can you repeat the question?
Probably shouldn't. You were threatening to ball up your fist and beat the heck out of them.
Objection.
I'll allow it. Is that what you were threatening to do?
Yes.
like he did to John.
When you testified in a separate proceeding in July 2023, you actually showed up for questioning live, correct?
Yes.
And you showed up at the time in July of 2023 with your knuckles busted up again, didn't you?
Correct.
And you were asked about your knuckles at that time, correct?
Correct.
And that time you said, oh no, I didn't fall down on black ice and slip and break my fall with my knuckles like you said here. You said, oh, I hit a heavy bag and busted my knuckles up on a heavy bag. Right?
Correct.
So that heavy bag was you practicing boxing, right?
It was me getting cardio, yes.
Which is in a form of fighting.
In a form, yeah.
Punching a bag.
If you ever heard of somebody busting up their knuckles on a heavy bag, put it in the chat. I ain't never heard of this before.
Yep.
That's how you choose to do your cardio.
Sometimes.
And you're right-handed,
Yes.
and it was your right hand that was busted up.
Correct.
So when you throw your hardest punch, that's with your right hand, isn't it?
I'd say, I'm not sure. I'd say they're equal.
You're equally strong with both hands.
I'd say so.
So in your words, you could fuck somebody up with either hand, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
You answer that.
No, I'm not saying that.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Hey, Miss Lily.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, just before I begin, may we approach?
Okay.
Yikes. Sidebar.
Is adding chicken broth to dog food actually dangerous?
So, Rob, what do you feed your dogs?
You know, I used to think.
I just wanted to clarify with the court based on my understanding of the question. I believe the door has been opened as far as harassment with this witness as well.
How?
And I intend to go down that road.
Okay. Do you want to point to specifics?
Like specifically what was asked as far as the timing, as far as you never talked about this case with family or friends for 2.5 years, and then you indicated no just more recently. And I think in order to explain sort of why that is, it is in reference to the harassment this witness has sustained.
What do you say, Mr. Jackson?
With all due respect, that is a ridiculous argument for opening the door.
Ridiculous.
Mr. Lally is desperate to get anything he can in about these witnesses being harassed. I did not come anywhere close to asking any questions, especially about yesterday. My questioning was tight and thoroughly narrowly tailored to issues concerning this witness's credibility. And I questioned based on the door that opened of his violent tendencies. I didn't come anywhere near asking a question about whether or not he had been harassed, whether or not he had been contacted by the police based on harassment. I asked him, we have to be able to ask, how many times have you spoken to the police about this case? This specific case, not harassment. And that's what I asked.
What do you intend to ask? I do have in my notes, at the very beginning, I wrote down that I believe the door was open, Mr. Jackson. Frankly, I was surprised. It is in the beginning when you went through the whole litany of the preparation and just a couple of other things that I didn't get to write down. You've been thinking about this case. How long have you been thinking about this case?
What does that have to
And he
do
said,
with
since people
harassment?
started writing about me on the internet, which was in response to the question as phrased. But tell me what you...
Wait, are y'all serious right now? Do y'all hear what she's saying? Okay, so as I have told you guys before, all of the witnesses for the prosecution say that they had been receiving harassment online by bloggers and such, specifically harassment from a particular blogger that goes by Turtle Boy. He's been in the courtroom. He's probably not in the courtroom today because there are particular witnesses that he was excluded from being in the courtroom during their testimony. And I think this is one of the witnesses. Anyway, the prosecution has done everything possible to bring up the fact that these witnesses have been harassed, and they're all acting like, oh, I'm so scared. Meantime, the whole family is law enforcement and they run the whole town. I mean, it's ridiculous. They got this kid busting up his knuckles on the heavy bags or whatever. Like, y'all ain't scared. It's ridiculous.
intend to get into, Mr. Lally.
Just following up on that, Your Honor, as far as people writing about you on the internet, what was that? When was that? What did that entail?
All right. I'm going to give him some headway on that. Like I said, frankly, I was surprised.
We are getting to a point, Your Honor, where we can't ask anything. We're being hamstrung because Mr. Lally is going to come up with, I'll say, what color is the sky? And he's going to say, well, he said blue. He felt blue in years past because he's been harassed. It's such a square peg in a round hole. We are getting to the point that we can't defend this case without fear that...
You just have to be careful and skilled, counsel.
Oh, and skilled.
I think I am careful and I think I am skilled. I didn't come anywhere close to opening...
Baby, she is saying you ain't skilled. You've got to be careful and you have got to be skilled. Ew.
the door, Your Honor.
Unfortunately, I believe you did. So I am going to give him a little leeway on this.
Now, you were asked some questions on cross-examination regarding whether or not you've been thinking about this case for the last 2.5 years. You recall that? Yes. And you indicated that you had not, correct? Mm-hmm. Correct. Sorry. And you had indicated in your testimony in response to that questioning, essentially not until people were writing things about you on the internet, correct? Correct. Can you expound upon that? Can you explain to the jury sort of when that occurred and what were the things that were being written about you on the internet? I'd say about a little over a year. It started when people on Twitter, Instagram, social media were just coming at my family, calling us murderers, harassing us, showing up to our doorsteps, our sports games. I mean, we couldn't leave the house without people taking pictures of us, and it's very terrible.
It's very terrible.
And how long has that gone on for? The past year and change, a couple months. Past year and a couple months, I'd say.
And y'all did this.
Clear, that night that you were at 34 Fairview Road at your uncle's house, January 28th and 29th, at any point in time did you see John O'Keefe at that house, come into that house, around that house, or at any point in time did you there? Never.
I thought you wasn't there. Wait. I thought he wasn't home. Okay. The cousin testified yesterday that he wasn't there at the time that John would have been there. He testified yesterday that he wasn't there at the time that John would have been there. So why did the prosecution ask him if he saw John come to the house if he wasn't at the house? Please, I gotta get y'all lives.
All right, Mr. Albert, you're all set. I think that piece of paper goes back to Mr. Jackson. Did you leave something on the witness stand?
Thank you, Robert.
Okay. All right, Mr. Lally, your next witness.
Yeah, sure. On the Commonwealth to call Mr. Matthew McCabe to the stand.
Okay.
Matthew McCabe is the husband of Jen McCabe. Jen McCabe was the person that Karen called on the morning that John was unalive. When John did not come home from going to the Alberts' home, she called Jen. Where is John? He didn't come home. Freaking out. And Jen and another friend rode with Karen to look for John. And Jen McCabe is the sister of Nicole Albert. I'm sorry, not Nicole. Shoot, what is her name? The wife of Brian Albert. They are in-laws. So I'm just showing you guys how entrenched and enmeshed this family.
Meet EM Sense, a breakthrough in foot therapy that wraps around your foot and ankle like a therapeutic boot.
I woke up to
all the witnesses, everybody that is pointing the finger at Karen are all related or are long-term friends from childhood.
screams in my bedroom.
Well, I mean, we approached just briefly.
Okay.
Uh-oh, they didn't open the door and they didn't even say nothing yet.
I'm sorry. This is just selfishly on my own part. I was just looking at the time and I don't know. I'm not going to finish with him. And this might be the easiest place for me to pick up tomorrow with this witness. I can keep going if the court wants.
I am completely fine with that.
I was trying to figure out whether you were going to start with 7 minutes. I didn't know if we had any more. Would you have started with 7 minutes left?
No.
Okay.
Yesterday, I should have come to Sidebar to say, should we end early? It was yesterday or the day before. Anyway, no, I'm fine with that.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
Any surprises tomorrow? I mean, evidentiary issues? I'm going to let the jury go.
That's fine.
So we will send you home. Please make sure you follow those 3 cautions. Do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know. Tomorrow's a full day. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
All rise for the court, please.
I don't know if they're going to have a final sidebar, so I'm going to wait.
Hold on. We are back on the record.
I just mentioned to Mr. Lally, he's been kind enough to give us advance notice of the witnesses that he has lined up for the next day. And tomorrow, after Matt McCabe, we've got Jen McCabe, Carrie Roberts, and then 2 witnesses that I think are going to be fairly brief. So I just wanted to make sure there is nobody else after that, just so that we have binders and binders and binders of information.
I understand. This is how I always tried cases, and this is how the Norfolk County DA's office, who do you expect to have tomorrow, Mr. Lally?
I anticipate we can finish up with Mr. McCabe. Then Jennifer McCabe will be after that. Carrie Roberts will be after that. And then Laura Sullivan and Marietta Sullivan.
Okay.
But my expectation just on sort of how cross-examination lengthwise has gone,
And direct.
But I imagine I'd be surprised if we get to or even get through Miss Roberts.
I hope we do. The repetitive nature of the setup and where people were sitting is just... Stop that.
What?
I was only doing it with reference to this witness, Your Honor, because I think it's germane as to when he's looking out and where he's going and looking out.
Which is fine, but that was toward the end of your direct, the beginning of the direct. I think if you asked a question on who was there for the night, I think the jury has an answer at this point. So just try and cut it down now.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we are all set for tomorrow.
Just for prep purposes, because I'd like to use the afternoon wisely, do you have any idea who you might have on Tuesday?
I would love to know too, but I'm not asking Mr. Lally that. If he wants to tell you that, that's fine.
Okay, we can talk about it offline.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
That is very weird. Why would she tell him that with each different witness, he shouldn't ask them what happened that night? Anyway, listen, I'm done with Karen Reed for today. We'll pick back up on day 14 next Saturday. Oh, wait. Listen, next Saturday, we're going to have an earlier live because one of my good girlfriends, it's her birthday and we're going to brunch. And so I'm going to have to get out of here by noon. So perhaps we should start at 10:30 next Saturday. Y'all let me know in the chat. All right, let's move on to Kouri Richins. Kouri Richins is the woman in Utah who is accused of having poisoned her husband to death and putting fentanyl in his Moscow Mule before bedtime. She says she ain't do that. She ain't had nothing to do with it. She don't know how he got that in his system. It wasn't me. And so we're gonna follow up on this week's coverage of that trial. Right now we are up to day 7. And day 7 is the financial expert is on the stand, and she is going over Kouri's finances. It's very long. It's very boring. I'm going to bring up my guests now to join me before we start those videos. Welcome in, Lorenzo. How are you this morning?
I'm good, except for being at work, but I'm good.
Yes, I understand, but somebody's got to do it, and if not you, then who? Okay, so I'm going to bring up Jen in a minute, and we're going to get to it, but I just wanted to recap what we've already learned about the Kouri Richins trial. So we're going to
You a B and I'm gonna F you up. I'm sorry. Just had to get that out.
you had to get that out from the last thing.
Yeah.
They all acting like, oh, so scared, we've been harassed and all of this, but really for real, they the ones out there just giving the whole town a hard time, a hard way to go. He out there beating up heavy bags and sidewalk. Anyway, I have never heard that somebody busted up their knuckles from hitting a heavy bag. I have never heard that before. It just sounds like this guy likes to fight and he gets in fights all the time. That's what it sounds like to me.
Maybe.
And that's the reason why they in the first trial they pointed at him as a potential third party culprit. In the second trial, though, I'll just tell y'all this now. They weren't allowed to name him. In the second trial, they weren't allowed to name him as a potential third party culprit. They were, and I cannot wait to hear the why. So I can't wait till we get the sidebars for a trial too, because I'm sure it's going to be wild. But anyway, back to Kouri. The financial expert goes over line by line all of the financial distress that Kouri was in leading up to Eric's unaliving. And it is basically the prosecution's theory that this is the reason why she had to kill him. The money, she needed the life insurance money. She thought she would get the house that was worth over $1 million, plus $1 million or more in life insurance, probably bank accounts and all. She thought she was going to have access to all of that. And the very first thing she finds out on the night that he dies is you, in fact, do not own this house. It's a trust.
Mm-hmm.
And she freaks out. We're going to get some testimony about that. But I'm going to give y'all a couple of little clicks and points on the financial expert. We're not going to go over the whole thing because she was on the stand for 8 hours. And
good grief.
Yeah.
8 hours.
It was a lot. It was really, really a lot. And she had been working on the case for some years. She has made over $200,000 on this case. That's how much work she's done. And so, I mean, that, the defense asked her that question. How much has the prosecution paid you? She was like, I'm not sure, but I think it's right about 200,000. But when you look at the totality of the work, and when you look at what she had to review, going backward to at another place in time to figure out who got this, because it wasn't just Kouri's finances. She had to look at the finances also of the companies that loaned money to Kouri, of the friends, of people that bought property from her. She had to look at all the properties and find out if those properties she bought and sold, did they make money? She had to look at so much. She had to look at Eric's finances. She had to. Now, I'll just tell y'all this now. Kouri's best friend, Chelsea, bought a house from Kouri. She wasn't in a position, for some reason, they didn't tell us why, to have the home in her name. So she bought this property from Kouri. They put a $45,000 down payment on the property.
Was that all?
And they paid the mortgage directly to the mortgage company. And when Kouri got arrested, she turned the property over in lieu of foreclosure, and the lady was evicted from her house. Come to find out, the mortgage company was Kouri. And Kouri never recorded the deed, so the lady lost her house. They probably not friends no more. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm assuming me, my husband, and my kids get put out on the corner. I'm probably not your friend no more. It's probably over. So yeah. So it's just all the things that she was doing to stay afloat. And to be honest, I believe she probably really loved her friend, and it probably was never her intention for this to happen. She probably was doing what she had always been doing, just floating money just long enough to get the payout. Once this property sells, then I could pay off all of this. And once this property sells, I could pay off all of that. So she probably took that $45,000, which the expert is going to tell us. She took that money to pay off some debt. And she never recorded the deed. So she probably thought, oh, the next time I sell another property, then I can put this money back. But then she got arrested. So then she couldn't move finances anymore. Anyway, we're going to get started with day 7 and listen to a couple of I think specific points that I want you guys to hear about, and then we'll move on. We're going to listen to her testimony, and we're also going to listen to the testimony of the estate planning attorney that the trust hired, that she set up the trust for Eric, and we're going to listen to her testimony as well. So let's go ahead and get started with our day 7 testimony.
Of each transaction in each of those months. So in November and December, those are separate buckets of transactions that she tried to pay without a fee. And that didn't happen. So $91,000 in each of those months.
So let me just pick an example. December. Does this show that in December she had 77 overdraft or non-sufficient fund transactions totaling $91,000?
That's what that says, yes.
That costs $2,000 in fees.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that trend,
$91,000 in
But hold on, how does a bank even let that happen though? I'm not following. What in the world?
So they did on defense. That's a good question, Jen. On defense, they asked that very question. Why would they continue to allow her to borrow money and do all of this if she was doing such a poor job with her finances? And the expert says it wasn't just Kouri who had an account with this bank. Eric had an account, several accounts with this bank. Him personally, as well as his business accounts. And she was explaining that it's possibly more because of the business relationship in total that they continue to have a relationship with her. We don't want to lose this business. We know that's her husband. We know these two are linked. This is in her personal and business account that she's overdraft. But in the joint accounts with Eric, those accounts are in good standing and have money sitting in it. She never had any money sitting in these accounts. So that was a good question and was brought up.
that upward trend began in October and continued through March.
That is correct.
Did you trace these overdraft and non-sufficient fund transactions?
I did.
What did she use the money for?
A lot of them were debt payments or expenses that she either paid or attempted to pay to rehab vendors like contractors and subs and trades for her properties.
Did she also try to pay herself?
Yes, she did.
Scott, can I get 5-109 Delta, please? Ma'am, do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
Did you prepare it?
I did.
What material did you use to prepare it?
This also drew from that same account at America First, the Kouri Richins Realty account 6577, and the personal account 5244 in some instances, and then also that Navy Federal Credit Union checking account for Kouri Richins.
The state moves to admit 5-109 Delta.
No objection.
5-109D is admitted.
Okay, can we go in, Scott, please zoom on that, that kind of left-hand block. Perfect.
I was really impressed with this expert too, because the way she was spitting out those account numbers, she knew this account inside and out. So she was worth every penny.
She's very expert.
Very good. She knew this case
of the posted date. The effective date is like the date of that the transaction came through, and then the posted date is when it is posted to the account. So you can see in the body here under the description, some of them are very descriptive, and you can tell who the payee is. That's the entity who receives the money on this transaction. Some do not. They say bank-to-bank transfer, and we'll go back to that in a little bit. And then you go over here to the transaction amount. I'm just going to skip it. Excuse me. You go here to the transaction amount, and these are negatives, meaning they're paid out of the account. And if they do not have a negative here, that's a deposit into the account. And then on the far right is the running total balance of the account. Sorry.
I have it.
Did you? Oh, thank you. Okay, Scott, can we go to the next page, please?
So this is all before Eric had.
So, I'm sorry. Can we back up a little bit? Back to the first page, transactions. Sorry. Okay, so this part here, down here, These automatic withdrawals, Chemical Bank is the payment on the HELOC. It's usually more than $100, but that's what that is. And then the Delta Bridge, Blue Bridge, Fairmont, and Zahava are going to become familiar names. Those four I could see posting on October 1st. And then, Scott, could we please go to the second page? And then you can see that those, we'll get to those in a second. She also has Boomerang ×3 and Fund Fi. And so the Boomerang ones we can describe in a minute are property payments that are monthly. And this Fund Fi is $3,107 that she obligated to pay every single week. Can we go down to the bottom, please?
Y'all see why this lady was drowning? $3,000 a week.
Sure, I can do that weekly. What the heck?
$3,000 a week she's obligated to pay. Like, these are hard money loans. Some are paid lenders as well. But those hard money loans are typically going to always be higher because it's a riskier loan, right? So she had obligated herself to pay out all of this money, and she was essentially robbing Peter to pay Paul. She was just trying to stay afloat until her property sold, which a lot of people that do flips, they do this, but they usually don't overextend themselves in this way. Like, she went from buying one property, I think they said in 2019, to the next year she bought 5, and the year after that she had 2021 she had 15 properties in her name. And no money. And then, we know what happened with the HELOC in 2020. She used that money to basically start her business, fund the business. And that really was the nail in the coffin. That was the thing that happened that started causing a lot of problems, and the reason why he put the house in a trust. Yes, Lorenzo.
I know people say the phrase paying themselves, but in this case, did she happen to have a LLC or a INC where she was paying herself, or was it just the way people normally give themselves some money?
I think she had her business set up legitimately, and she did have like an LLC and all of that. But it was very hard for her to pay herself when we look at these finances, because she owed so much money. She had the hard money loans and the payday loans. Like, she was just getting money from wherever she could get sourcing in order to take care of things. I believe that Eric took care of her. She mainly used this money. When you look at the accounts, she mainly used all of that money for the properties that she purchased. Like, there's not extravagant things that they show coming out of her accounts. It's not like she's out there going to the spa. None of that is evident in any of this. Now, she was taking some trips. And one of her friends do get on the stand. I think they said they went to Hawaii. But anyway, wherever they went, she asked the friends if they could cover her, because that was right around the HELOC time, and Eric had cut all her credit cards off. So she didn't have cash to play money anymore because she did that. Like, so that probably put her even more of a spiral, because he cut her off after that.
Yeah. In totality, the reason I asked is, if you don't pay yourself as an LLC, that's going to cause you problems come tax time.
Well, we talk about the taxes too, because she was over reporting on her taxes.
Oh, Trump.
She was saying that she was making more money than she was making, which, of course, on defense, they said, why would she do that? Because she would have less tax liability if she underreported. And the expert says, I can't find anywhere where she actually filed these taxes. She could have done this to make the business look more successful in order to get more loans. Um, and also, she couldn't prove that she even presented the tax refunds, but maybe she put them together just in case. But she was over reporting on the tax statement. I'm gonna just say statement because nobody knows if she filed it or not. So, all right, I'm gonna go back to Miss Brooke. I love this lady.
Richins as attorney in fact.
And she signed as attorney in fact for Eric Richins on March the 19th, 2019?
Yes.
Thank you. Scott, please. 5-89 Delta. Ma'am, do you recognize this document?
I do.
Did you prepare it?
I did.
What material did you use to prepare it?
I used the HELOC statements from TCF Bank / Huntington Bank.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit 5-89 Delta.
No objection.
5-89D is admitted.
Ma'am, what does this depict?
So along the top are the months, every other month, but each bar represents a month, and the negative numbers indicate the balance of the loan as of that month. So, for example, on March 1st, March of 2019, there was a draw of $60,000 shortly after the loan was approved. And so that stayed at that balance for a few months. And then following that, every month I've just taken the balance of the account and depicted it in a bar.
And the bars go downward because this is a negative number. It's the amount owed?
That's right. And so I've got like on the left-hand side, those are negative numbers. And you can see the negative $250,000. That's the limit, the credit limit of this loan. And so you can see relative to the credit limit where the balance was in any given month.
What did you determine was the balance on the HELOC at the time of Eric Richins' death?
At the time of his death, it was over its limit, $254,000.
Okay, this is important information because she had been telling all of her friends, all of her good friends, that she and Eric had been fighting about this HELOC, and she had been bragging to everyone that she paid it off. I took the money, but I mean, I paid it off in 6 months. She had been telling everybody that she paid this HELOC off. And you could see that as of March 2024, it was overdraft that had not been paid off. So it was just, she was making a lot of bad decisions financially, and it seemed like it was just all falling in on her at the time of Eric's murder.
Did you analyze the payments made towards this balance?
Yes.
You mentioned the 60 was a draw. So what did your analysis show regarding payments?
With the exception of one, the payments were interest-only payments, so the minimum payment. And then you can see in October of 2020 there's a rise in the balance. There was a $50,000 payment made in October 2020, and so that's why the balance is different there. And then by the June and July of 2021, it was at its balance or exceeding.
So am I right then that but for the one $50,000 payment in October 2020, the only payments were minimum monthly interest payments?
That's correct.
Were you able to trace the HELOC draws to see where the money went?
Yes.
What did you determine?
They were by and large for rehab expenses related to Kouri Richins projects.
I mean, that was the intent of stealing the money. And I say stealing, and I mean stealing, because if you take $250,000 out of your husband's property, sign his name, and not tell him, it's stealing. In fact, she actually told, we're going to listen to a phone call later. She actually told someone if I had asked him, he would have said no. So she knew he would have said no. That's why she stole the money. All right, here we go.
Trace rehab expenses to this project?
Yes.
How much did you trace to this project?
$188,000.
But there could be more that you were unable to trace.
There could be more, yeah.
There could be more out of that pot of $400,000.
This was a big project, and yes.
So at the end of the day, 32 minus the 188 left her losing $155,000 on this project?
At least that, yes.
Maybe more?
Yes.
Okay, Scott, let's back out of the whole shebang.
Now, if I lose $155 on a project, I'm gonna be like, sick. $150,000.
This must not be in Boston.
Right? I know. And I keep thinking, I'm hearing these numbers. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just crazy.
This is in Utah. I don't know what the cost of living is out there, but Eric was pretty well off. I mean, his home was worth $1 million plus. His business was valued at $4 million. He was doing pretty good for himself. She had bought 15 properties in 1 year by stealing this money out of his house. They were living a pretty nice life. Yes, Lorenzo.
Allegedly stealing. She borrowed it without permission.
That's alleged?
Yeah. Also, the reason I say this can't be Boston's because these are expert witnesses. Boston doesn't have those.
And this judge is just like, yeah, let's just go. Let's keep going.
I was going to say that next. They asked, can we put this in as exhibit XYZ? Sure. All right.
Absolutely.
Sure.
The judge in this case is amazing. Not with his tech skills, but everything else. He is very direct without being nasty. He actually does listen to both sides of arguments. He is friendly and likable. He's one of the best judges I've seen since we started covering these trials together. There's even times where they will object to things and give their argument, and he'll be like, let me think about that. I can't rule on that yet. He was like, let me go back and look and let's move on. Like, don't let the other side get in their points if we got an objection on the floor. Maybe we'll take a reset. Like he is, to me, trying to be as fair as possible. But the one thing that I do want to point out, and I think I've never said this with you guys, But when judges are making rulings, they are supposed to be doing everything in the light that's most favorable to the state. So even if they're supposed to protect the defendant's rights in every decision that they make, but they basically are supposed to be leaning toward whatever the state said happened really happened, and now they have to show us how it happened. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. So their job is just to kind of referee, facilitate, make sure that nothing illegal is happening to the defendant while allowing the state to prove their case. So I think this judge does an excellent job making sure to be fair and to let everybody get their points out. All right, I'm gonna move forward to another space and time with this witness. I think we're getting ready to be on cross, and that is where I'm trying to get to. We're almost there.
Chelsea Barney lived. So that's my abbreviation.
This is her talking about Chelsea Barney, which as I said earlier, was the best friend of Kouri Richins, and she lived in this property. So this is what she's touching on right now.
Of that house.
And did you analyze that purchase transaction?
I did.
Are you familiar with Iron Bridge Financial?
Yes.
What is Iron Bridge?
They are a hard money lender, and they are the lender that Kouri Richins engaged for this particular property purchase.
What, ma'am, is a hard money lender?
Hard money lenders are typically it's called hard money because the terms are hard, and they're hard. The interest rates are higher than conventional loans, like from a bank or a credit union. Typically, they also have very strict default clauses. They're usually used for shorter term lending. So there will be like a specific term, usually 6 months or 12 or something, and the terms are defined at a certain interest rate, and then upon default,
it's not me. They had a lot of
it's an exponential growth. You know, the default, or excuse me, the interest rate quite often will double or other terms. Yeah.
And do fix and flip businesses often use hard money lenders?
They do.
Are frozen, but I'm gonna skip ahead. But that is just her explaining what happened in the Chelsea house catastrophe of it all. Because baby, I cannot imagine.
Ma'am, I want to ask you now about a $45,000 set of wire transfers related to the Barney home. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
What is your understanding of the purpose of those wire transfers?
Those were in January of 2022 from Chelsea Barney to Kouri Richins for the purpose of a down payment to buy the 299 Barney house.
So it was a down payment?
Objection to speculation about what it was for and hearsay. Move to strike.
We can prove it, Your Honor.
Sustained. Lay some foundation, Mr. Bloodworth.
Your Honor, Scott, can you bring up Exhibit 2-19DR?
Would you mind blowing it up, Scott? I can't read the text.
I think he's trying to. I don't like it.
There's several pages, Your Honor.
And I think I heard the witnesses actually.
Can you
Just
repeat
so
that,
the
Tam? I can't.
Court knows where I'm
hear
going. I'll
you
just
really.
move to admit it.
Sorry, I was saying that the attorneys that Kouri has, it's my understanding that they're public defenders for her.
Oh,
Not that that's what they always do, but I believe that in this case they are acting as public defenders. So or at least that's what I heard another platform discuss the other day. So I didn't know that. I thought she was paying them at first. But they are really fighting for her. I don't always like their attitude. Most of the time, I don't like their body language. They be rolling their eyes. They seem to come off very condescending most of the time. They seem like they in a lot of courtrooms, they don't allow the attorneys to add additional commentary. You know, like if I say to you, isn't it true that on the night in question, you had a drink, and the witness says, yeah, but I only had one. And then I, as the attorney, say, yeah, I bet. They're not supposed to be allowed to do that. But this courtroom seems very relaxed, and it's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. And so for me, watching them, it is a turn off. You know, I just want the information. Me, the jury, when I'm trying to make a decision, I don't need all that extra stuff. And it really makes me not like you and or your client. I just want the details. Put out the facts so I can make a decision as to whether or not your client is guilty. I don't want to hear all that extra stuff. And they do a lot of that. And it's, for me, it's a turn off. So I don't know how, the rest of them feel, but that's how I feel.
Okay. Same
I
objection
thought it was a
to
dramatic
this
pause.
exhibit, Your Honor, that we've already,
Very
same objections.
403 and 404B.
Yes.
They were given. I'm sorry. They were paused. No, it wasn't you. They were paused because the prosecution was getting ready to show an exhibit. She already has an objection on the floor, and that objection was sustained. The judge told him that he needed to lay some more foundation, so he wanted to show this exhibit. So he had to give her an opportunity to review it before he showed it, and so that's why we had that long pause. Now we're going to see what she has to say.
Okay, those objections are respectfully overruled. Forgive me, this was a long number. Would you go back to page 1? States Exhibit 2-19D-R is admitted. Did this witness see this document?
Yes, she did, Your Honor.
Okay, take it from there.
And just, I think the court is aware, but the labeling 2-19 is the exhibit number. D means it's a demonstrative. R means it's redacted. Ms. Carrington, have you seen this document before?
I have, yes.
Your Honor, can the court publish it to the jury?
Yes.
Scott, if you could just slowly, please walk the jury down the text string. Ma'am, is this a text string between Chelsea Barney and Kouri Richins?
That's my understanding, yes.
Does it say this $40,000 is for the house?
I'm about to read it, or they have to read it to us. It says, I'll also let you know, this is from Chelsea. I'll also let you know I'm down payment when I get that. I don't know what she meant. It will be this week, but don't stress, it will be affordable. Oh, I'm sorry, this is Kouri to Chelsea. It'll be affordable for
Chelsea.
you to have, no worries. That's what it says. Go ahead.
And Kouri Richins is in blue, right, at the 1987 number?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So I know y'all probably can barely see it, but it's just a text exchange between Kouri and Chelsea discussing this down payment and what it's supposed to be for. And the reason why they're showing this is because the defense objected to them saying what she used the money for. So
I told you he could prove it.
Absolutely. I also think that Chelsea has some sort of business too, because you can see she's saying that she'll have some cash. She got 40. Listen, these people make a lot of money out here in Utah. You want to move, Jen? We need to get out there to Utah where the money is flowing.
Yeah, apparently.
That's where Mandy is, so maybe that's where we need to find ourselves. All right, here we go.
Along the
Thing is
bottom
aligned and
are
it's showing
just
that you should go
some
there.
phases of funding. And as far as the phases of funding, it's not a very hard and fast scientific analysis, but as I looked at all the transactions, they kind of fall into kind of different phases. And so what I've said is, she started her business in 2019. She had the one project early on, and then she had some other projects. And in the beginning, she used a primary lender, Sierra West and Matt Strong, and that's a name that I think you're going to hear over and over. So he's her primary lender for almost all of her, not all of them, but almost all of her projects, a significant number. And then...
All right, so basically this chart is showing us where Kouri was getting her monies. The different lenders, about approximately how much these different lenders was funding for each of her properties. Remember the name Matt Strong, because it's gonna be important later.
In the very beginning, as we've already talked about, she used that HELOC, draws from the HELOC to fund the projects, the rehab expenses, until it was no longer available because it was maxed out. And in the very beginning, she had a little bit of cash. There's like a $10,000 or $15,000 that I can see coming from her own sources to pay for projects, and she had a seller financing project. And I should stop and say too, I'm sorry I'm getting long-winded, but she had prior projects that she'd done in South Carolina, and those seemed to be fairly successful. They were
also, remember South Carolina, because that's going to come back up later.
Smaller projects, and they were before Utah, before she registered her business, so I've kind of left those off. But I do feel like to complete the picture, we need to talk about that. And then Cockerhands and Blackwell, those are two of her lenders so Matt Strong would be her primary lender, so she'd acquire the house with his funds, and then these would be what I'm terming, it's my term, rehab lenders. These are funds that she borrowed to give her money to fix up the house. So I have put these, what I'm trying to depict here, that as time went on, the proportions changed a little bit. And then as time went on, the funding sources changed. So no longer was she using her own cash. That was only in the very beginning. And the HELOC was, as you've seen, remember the chart where it was maxed out pretty quickly.
Your Honor, object to narrative.
Okay. Mr. Bloodworth, ask a question.
I'll ask a question, Your Honor. What changes from the first call?
Basically, they are objecting to her just going on with her, like there's no question being asked of her. She's just, going on and telling you what's in her head and how she created these documents and why, right? So, but there's no
I'll
question.
allow it.
Right, that would have been allowed in Boston, but here the judge said, yeah, ask your next question, because she is just running on. All right, I'm going to get to Cross, because Cross...
You sure she's not a lawyer?
She's a very smart lady that testifies in these type of trials all the time. And a lot of experts become experts, and then they start knowing how to answer these certain questions and what to say and what not to say. And I told you this lady was worth her $200K because she was very good. So I think right here she's going to give us a little bit of money, show us the money that Eric that Eric's death, the life insurance that she got and what she spent. She got this payout in June. It was not one big lump sum, but she got like several increments of this money. And so from June of 2022 to September the 19th, that's my birthday, of 2022, she spent almost $4 million. In 3 months. She had only $800 left in her account in 3 months. That's how underwater she was. On most of this money, the expert explains that most of this money went to paying debt. It's not like she was just out here buying luxury cars, and no, most of this money went to pay off prior debt. $1.4 million in 3 months. And she still had an active lawsuit against the trust. She was suing the trust so that she could get the house.
Under what grounds?
I probably that she's the spouse and she should be entitled to it or some portion of it. She also was contending that she was so in his trust there was language, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. There was language that she should be provided for her monthly maintenance and blah blah blah, right? And so she was kind of contending that the sister was not administering the trust the way that Eric had intended, basically. And so she decided to sue the trust. I don't know if they ever made it to trial on that. We haven't gotten that far yet. But anyway, so I just wanted to show y'all that little clip of this money, not for us to listen to any of it, but I wanted you to see that part. And then we go on break and come back on cross. So here we are.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. Good afternoon, Ms. Carrington.
Good afternoon, Ms. Hester.
You and I have known each other for some time. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Okay. So I'd like to talk to you about how you got involved in this case. Is it fair to say that you were brought into this case by the gentleman who was working as a private investigator for the trust for the estate?
Absolutely, yes.
And his name is Todd Gabler, correct?
That is correct.
And Mr. Gabler is also someone you've known for a really long time.
I have. Professionally, yeah.
Right. Well, of course. I should have said that. I'm sorry. And you guys even share office space, or did at one point?
No, never.
I thought you did. Sorry. And so initially, when you were brought into this case, Eric Richins' family was really your boss in the matter.
I wouldn't look at it that way. I was hired by their attorney, Crystal Bowman Carter, after Kouri initiated the lawsuit. That's when I came in.
But the work you were doing was designed to assist Eric Richins' family in the litigation. Fair?
Fair, yes.
All right. And during the time that you were working for the family or the estate or the trust, did you also do some witness interviews with Mr. Gabler?
No.
You didn't go to any interviews of witnesses with him?
No, I didn't.
That's Eric's sister that we see here. I just wanted y'all to know. So the next time y'all see her rolling her eyes back there, she don't be rolling her eyes. I'm exaggerating, but when they show her a lot during the trial, I just want you to know who the people in the peanut gallery are.
All right. I want to talk a little bit about
and this attorney gets her facts wrong a lot. She be thinking she got somebody, aha, and then they be like, that ain't what happened. She be like, oh, it's not. And I don't know if she's simply just getting her facts misstated, mixed up, or is she trying to slip things in and hoping that they won't catch on? I'm not sure, but she gets it wrong a lot.
the Barney house, Chelsea Barney's house. You guys spent a couple hours on that, or about an hour and a half on that today in direct. And as I understand your testimony, Ms. Barney was going to provide $45,000, or did provide $45,000, which you traced all through Ms. Richins' accounts, to Ms. Richins to be used at a closing in the future, correct?
To be used at a closing that day.
Thought they never had the closing.
Well, they didn't.
Right.
My understanding of that whole text string is that there was this closing that was going to happen imminently, and this was the $45,000 down payment that Chelsea was paying toward the house to then be in her name.
Right. And the $45,000, well, strike that. Let me back it up just a little bit so it's not confusing. Kouri Richins Realty had already purchased the Chelsea Barney home prior to all this, correct?
That's right.
And you went through all the efforts she was making to try, well, let me ask it this way. When it's first purchased, the idea was probably to flip it, right? Like she does all her business.
No,
She was going to keep it.
she was going to keep this one.
Okay, but she had hard money lenders the same way she did on her other flip properties originally.
Well, remember, she's got those two different kinds. You know, she's got the hard money where she's got a 6-month balloon and she doesn't have to pay anything in between. And then she's got the other ones where she has a due date, a maturity date, and she has to make those monthly payments. This was one of those. And so her original loan was due January 8th of 2022, and that's about the time that this transaction with Chelsea's going on.
Okay. And as you explained in your direct, she was trying to shop around for a long-term mortgage to get better terms of the mortgage, right?
Right, with David Ige and Excel, she was trying to refinance a few things.
Right. And while she's looking for a new mortgage package, Chelsea sends her this $45,000, right?
No, I think I could be wrong about this. She had been dealing with David Ige since August and September of 2021.
That's another reason why I like her, because she's also very honest. I mean, I could be wrong about this, is what she said, but from what I saw, that's not true. Okay, so I'm gonna move on a little bit further into cross, because we could be here all day and we don't want to be. There
I'm
was,
at work, so
there was an objection, and so that's why we have this little pause.
And I apologize. There's a lot going on around me, so I apologize. I keep turning the camera
you're
off and on.
fine. I wanted y'all to be able to see Kouri's interaction with her attorney and her body language and stuff while all of this is going on. Y'all gotta watch her facial.
The state's hearsay objection regarding Kouri's side of this conversation is sustained.
Without revealing what is in this email or commenting on what was said in the email, once you read this, plus the email that we put up on the screen that showed Ms. Richins did not have the $3 million available to rehab, is it your understanding as you were doing your analysis that there was never an intent to do a significant rehab on the Midway property?
I understand that's kind of where she landed.
Okay.
I even like the way she worded that. I understand that's where she landed. That doesn't mean that wasn't the initial intent, but that's where she landed. Okay, and I'm gonna skip it.
And the Harns, the current owners, paid $3.4 million for that property.
So the current owners that live in it now.
So this property is what they are calling the Midway Mansion. This was the property that she was trying to purchase at the time of Eric's death. Eric died on March the 4th of 2022. She closed on the Midway Mansion on March 5th, 2022. And in fact, the night of his death, the reason why they are alleging that she poisoned his drink is because she said that they were celebrating this closing the next day. And so they had a drink, which was the Moscow Mule that they say they think she poisoned.
Bought that property for $3.4 million about 2 years after Kouri bought it for $2.9.
Let me do the math. They bought it in...
And they're saying
so she bought it in March.
They're saying that this property, she bought it for 2.9, it sold for 3.4, or 3.9, and that, you know, it would have been a good deal if she had been able to sell it herself, but she never was able to sell it. All the offers that she got for it all fell through because there were problems with the property, like swamp lands and this kind of stuff, and they couldn't get it cleared for sale. What happens is she essentially forecloses on the property. Matt Strong is the investor in this property. He basically sells it to someone else, sells the note to someone else, to give them the right to collect on the debt, right? So really nobody made any money on this thing. They basically, Matt sold it to break even, basically. So that's what she's explaining right now. We're not going to sit and listen to the whole explanation. I wanted to skip ahead to the end of Cross because this defense attorney gets a little cocky and she goes a little bit too far, and she asks this expert, and all your little research you was doing, all these little numbers you've been crunching, did you see anywhere in there where Kouri admits to killing her husband?
Well, why would you ask that?
Why would you ask that?
This is financial.
Also, she got the right one, baby, because this lady gives an answer that only an expert would give. So listen.
Right. That she got right before he died.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you, Your
Oh,
Honor.
did I mess up?
No, sir.
Ms. Nestor, may we release this witness?
Yes.
Okay. I think I messed it up. Hold on. Let me go back a little bit.
2020. She ended up selling it in March of 2021. And so that's why during this time period, that's what I mean. It's the one project. I'm aware of a real estate schedule that she submitted to many of her lenders, and she includes projects that were Fox Lake Investments that are Eric and Cody's, his business partners, and she included them as her own, but they were not her own.
Okay, so I'll get to Fox Lake in a minute.
Okay.
But are you aware that Eric was a lender on the Mill Creek property, that he lent $40,000?
I did not see a trust deed or anything, so no, I'm not aware of that.
Okay. I want to talk about this Fox Lake business that you just mentioned.
I'm trying to get to the email.
Did they appear to have in your analysis of them?
To tell y'all about it.
I know that they had.
I might just have to tell you about it. So basically, her in response to this, did you see anything where Kouri admits to killing her husband? Her response is, well, there is that email to hold on, I think that Lorenzo is having some connection issues. She's like, oh, there is that email to, I'm gonna have to just remove him. I thought I removed him because it's getting on my nerves. What is happening right now? Sorry,
I just hope everything is quiet around my house right now, so I'm just
a little technical difficulties, people. Maybe I'm the only one that hears this noise. You don't hear
I don't hear anything, no.
Okay, so I'm just gonna keep talking because it's like a noise in my ear that's letting me know that he's trying to reconnect.
Oh, gotcha.
Anyway, her response to is there anything that Kouri admitted to? She says, well, there is that email to Matt Strong where she says that being married to Eric is an inconvenience.
Why? Because he gets you money?
Because he wants her to be smart with her money.
And productive.
That he won't just give her his money to throw away. To throw away.
He didn't like that answer.
He didn't like it. He said, I'm out of here. And so that was like spot on. She answered that question just like an expert. It also lets you know that she knew this file inside and out. She reviewed everything. And so they just couldn't get around this. This expert, although the testimony was long and boring, it was crucial.
Please tell me that at the end of that, when she made that statement, that the defense just said, "Okay, cool," and they rested after that.
That's pretty much what happened. They was like, "Okay,
Good.
thanks. Yeah,
good.
Thank you for nothing, lady." So we will talk later on Thursday. We will talk about the estate planning attorney, because she ends her testimony very fiery as well. They asked her some dumb question and something about did you ask, did you look at Kouri's life insurance or something? And she was like, no, because she's still alive. Eric is dead. Like, I was just like, what the? So they have opened up the door to some things, and I'm like, why would you ask that? And so this was just one of those examples. But we'll look at her testimony next week, along with whatever other craziness that we find out this week. Also, I want to go over the lover's testimony. So we'll do that on Thursday. Although it happened this week. It was so much that happened this week that it was just hard to cover it all. But the lover's testimony was very interesting, and he was super emotional on the stand. He was crying. It was a mess. But the way it started off, I didn't know what was about to happen, because when they get up to take the oath, he didn't just say he would tell the truth. He said he asked the question instead. And so I want to play that clip for you guys on Thursday.
I can't wait.
I was like, what? I was like, what is about that?
I already know I'll have so many questions.
So I'll leave you guys with that little cliffhanger, because it was really like shocking. I've never seen that before. And so I was like, what does he mean?
Oh, wow.
It was wild. It was a wild start to the day. But
yeah,
we'll play all of that, and we'll chat about that. So I thank y'all for joining me and having these discussions with me. Before I leave, I want to know, in church they used to say, are all hearts and minds clear? Is there any questions that I need to answer for you guys before I leave? Or is it any part of this case that you're interested to dive a little deeper on? Because I'm going to make a note of that and make sure that I bring that to you guys on Thursday.
For me, I'm excited about what's coming up. Thursday when we do that. And then I get that they're hard money lenders, and I understand that, but my thing is still, like, I would assume when they have all these really strict terms because it's hard money, you would think that they wouldn't open up so many projects, you know what I mean, or so many loans, because you're like, well, we need to close out all these other ones first. I guess I'm just confused how she even got there.
I'm confused too. But I think that there was a world where she was charming, and she had been doing business with these guys. They were getting paid. They don't know how they were getting paid. Now we look into the bank account and we see, like, she was legit writing like $5,000, $10,000 checks out of an account that was already in the negative. So she was just trying to keep her head above water. And I think it really all started crashing in on her, and she just didn't know. All of these monies were coming due, like right now. Then she had this closing coming up. She didn't have any money. So I just think that the Midway Mansion, there is a conversation that she has with the boyfriend that she had a dream. The Midway Mansion was this huge house, this huge property on a lot of land, and it had like another smaller house on the property. But the smaller house was still it would have been a big house for the average person. She says in this text to him that I had a dream last night that I bought the Midway Mansion and you and I lived there in the small house, and we used the big house as event space, and we made a lot of money. And so I think that she probably was going to fix it up, possibly keep the smaller house on the property to live in, and sell, rent out, or some other such thing with the bigger home. I think she never got there because once Eric died, she thought she would have her house to refinance and all of the life insurance. She found out on the day of his death, which was the day before the closing, that she had no interest in the house, that she could not do anything with the house. And I think that made her say, I'm not going to flip it. I'm going to just do something small and just hurry up and flip it and not keep it. I think that was by necessity. That is what I gathered from all of that testimony. She had to get rid of the house because she, in fact, was not going to be able to do what she thought she was going to be able to do for it. And she also was supposed to get a portion of his business, even though he had a partner. I still think she was supposed to get like 1/3 of his ownership. And I'm not sure she even ever got her hands on that. So I just think that this whole trust issue ended up becoming an issue that she didn't think she had. And so I think it was just more financial distress, which is how she could spend $1.4 million in 3 months. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being in so much debt? They said that she made like 6.8 million on all these properties that she sold, but she owed 8.9. So she still was in debt after she did all of that. So we're just going to dive a little bit deeper and figure out what is going on with poor Kouri. Hi, Mandy. I didn't even see you there. We are just wrapping up. So if you have time,
Ladies,
watch play. Guys, if you haven't done so, make sure that you go out and like the live, share the live, comment on the live, do all the things. And remember, the world has never met another you. Go out and be great in it. Thank y'all for joining me for yet another episode of the After Parties Meet the Jury segment. I will see you guys on the next stream, which will be Thursday evening. See you guys back here. Bye-bye.
Bye.